Zach Berman and Ryan Slater co-founded the Juice Truck in 2011. Two childhood friends tossed around ideas of going into business together for years. After a trek through the Himalayas, the Juice Truck was born. Zach and Ryan noticed the locals were always drinking a vibrant, sweet-smelling orange drink. The orange drink was made from sea buck, thorn berries, and supplied these high-altitude locals with most of their nutrients. This juice sparked an idea. In August 2012, they launched their newest business venture, Juice Cleanse. Please join me in welcoming Zach Berman and Ryan Slater.
Hi guys, Richard, thank you for having us today. We're excited to hear all the other speakers as well. Thank you for starting that off. That was an inspiring note to begin the evening with. Today we're going to talk a little about our journey into juice and kind of where we hope to be going.
So we've been best friends since we were about 12. My dad was our soccer coach. Every summer from 12 on until we were 24, we worked together at Zach's dad's glass studio. That was our summer months, 8 hours every day. And then during the school year, we were with each other all the time. The first idea for sort of accessible, healthy food came from when we worked for Zach's dad. Our glass studio was kind of tucked away in kind of a deep part of rail town where there were no sort of healthy food options. And we always used to joke around how would we get something to us right now if we wanted something super, super healthy. And we always kind of touched on the idea of some sort of mobile service that would come to us. But being pretty young and naive, we never really put much thought into it. We just kind of tossed ideas around. And then after university, we spent a full year working with his dad and decided that we wanted to go away together somewhere. So we ended up unknowingly, can't really remember how we decided, but we decided to go to Nepal, India, and Sri Lanka for a year. And Zach can sort of touch on how the idea for the Juice Truck came.
So we left for a year-long backpacking trip, leaving our job behind at my father's business, not really sure what we would do following the trip, but open to whatever would kind of come our way during the travel experience. And we got the idea fairly quick into the trip of what we wanted to do when we got back. We started the trip off in Nepal, and we wanted to do, the theme of Nepal was just trekking. We wanted to trek and hike through the mountains as much as possible. The first area that we were going to trek was the Annapurna region in the Himalayas. And there's a mountain town called Manang there. It's about 4 or 5 days into the trek. And they got an early snowfall. So we got snowed in this small kind of mountain town, and they told us that we couldn't leave until the yaks could pass the trail. And so we had to stay there until the yaks were ready to give us a trail to walk on. So we were there for I think 3 days, and we noticed that all the locals every day, when they weren't drinking Roxy, which is like the local rice wine, we noticed they were drinking this really vibrant orange-colored drink which we found to be called sea buck thornberry juice. And there wasn't a lot of nutrients at this altitude. It was a lot of kind of starchy potato and very like pasta and kind of starchy foods that we were having all the time. So we learned that they were getting a lot of their nutrients from this one juice. Which was high in omega-3s, which was interesting for a berry. So we asked more about it and started drinking it, and we thought, hey, like how cool would it be to bring this juice back to Canada? We've never seen this anywhere in Canada. So it was kind of at that point where we realized it'd be an interesting journey to kind of seek out different juices and different fruits and different vegetables that locals were applying to their juices as we traveled. So that berry was kind of the first juice that we tried that sparked an idea. From that point on, juice became a major part of our travels, nutritionally as well as kind of a point to connect with community and a point to just discover new things. So
we kind of felt that, especially in India, there were juice bars kind of all over the streets, little mobile stands, no running water, being at a sugarcane machine or a juicer, no sanitation, nothing at all. It was sort of our form of getting daily nutrients on a backpacker's diet. And we were always kind of surprised with the concoctions these street side juice makers were coming up with. So we sort of made it our quest, like Zach said, to kind of try as much as we could. There was one particular guy in New Delhi where we stayed for a couple weeks who ran a little juice bar up the street, spoke no English, would kind of give us his head nod every time he saw us. We went there 2 times a day. Zach went there back a year later, still recognized him and asked where I was. It was that sort of experience of having this sort of odd community outside juice bars that we were intrigued by, which is then where we decided if we did something like a truck back in Vancouver, the sort of front of service element that food trucks have would allow us that sort of connection that we got with the communities throughout our travels, which is sort of in the end why we decided to do a food truck. Zach had got home a little bit before me. I was at the World Cup in South Africa. Zach sent me an email from an article from the Georgia Strait saying that food trucks had just started in Vancouver, and I think I sent an email back saying like, hey, let's just do it in a truck instead of a juice bar. And I mean, in terms of one of the most common questions we get is why the food truck. In the end, it really suited our accessible element that we wanted to cater to. We chose a specific location in Gastown where we're located 5 days a week. On the weekends, we just kind of tried to roam to kind of try new areas. So Kith was a huge destination for us, and it just allowed our product to be mobile. And then in Gastown, we kind of wanted to have that same element of like a fixed juice bar. Having the food truck was an interesting element, I'd say, from an operational standpoint.
We learned a lot in the winter. It's pretty cold.
I used to take my mom's hair dryer to deep all the hot water lines because they would freeze overnight. So if you ever saw me under the truck, I was slowly heating the water lines. And serving in Gastown really allowed us that unique sort of element where a lot of the downtown east side residents are engaged with us frequently every day because we're such a staple and we're right there in front of them. There's no way that we can't communicate with them as they walk by. And that element of friendship that we garnered with a lot of people is really important to us. We have a strong belief that by knowing all these people's names, they enjoy our presence, and once a month they all actually try a product, I'd say, which has been a really cool experience. Most of the time they don't really like it. They seem to not be totally impressed with the healthy nutrients, but it's always cool to have something that, to have a clientele that, you're not regularly accustomed to has kind of made it special for us.
People often ask us how we came up with the recipes, and it was a really fun kind of journey coming onto those as well. We've always been big juice and smoothie drinkers ourselves, but we don't come from a culinary background. I studied painting at Emily Carr, and Ryan studied city planning at UVic, so we're not exactly chefs by any means. So when we got back, we got into my mom's kitchen, of all places, and for about 4 months, we literally tested everything from everything we could throw in a blender or juicer, from durian to lychee to broccoli and garlic, whatever we could find. Then we had a bunch of focus groups with our friends, and they kind of would rate them out of 10 and write some notes, and that kind of helped us come up with our final menu, which is kind of a fun part. We get to constantly tweak that seasonally as edible Vancouver, edible Canada. There's always, great local ingredients here in Vancouver. So like in the wintertime when it was less berries, we were trying baked yam smoothies, and we teamed up with local foodie here in Ireland, and we did a banana bread smoothie together. So we're always trying to come up with new kind of fun concoctions that people necessarily haven't tried before. So we've been doing this for about a year now, and then we've been thinking about what's next, and we just recently launched our second business about a week ago, called the Juice Cleanse.
So for the last year, we used to kind of get customers who'd come to the truck all the time, ask if they could get 7 juices a day. So we used to just sort of put them in mason jars. They'd pick up every day, and it wasn't really a system that really worked doing it out of the truck. But we realized that there was a market. In this day and age, people are so consumed with processed foods, being it's just their lifestyle that they have, and a lot of people enjoy the idea of just pumping their body with as many vitamins and nutrients as they could in liquid form. And after sort of a year of doing it at Mason Jars, we realized that enough was enough and we needed to move this to our commercial kitchen space. So we decided to launch a bottled program. Right now our employees running around Vancouver doing deliveries, which is a whole other realm of something that we, being sort of young and naive, didn't really understand what we were getting ourselves into right now. Zach went all the way to the North Shore yesterday to deliver something. Was not supposed to happen.
It's a nice drive, but we fixed that order in time. No longer go to North End.
But it's been really cool. I think being that we're really close and best friends, we have a unique partnership where we kind of split responsibilities, but we always communicate with everything we do. And I think it's allowed us the opportunity to actually grow as friends, both into the business world and just closer, learning more and more about each other. The one last note I should probably talk on is the support of our families. Being that we started this when we were 24, as many of you probably know, our parents have probably been the most helpful people we could have ever asked for. My dad runs around all day picking up blueberries. Zach's mom is our culinary chef who makes most of our raw baked goods as well. And it's our families who've really supported us and helped us so much.
That was probably the first question they asked when we got back. What are you going to do now? And when we said that we were going to start a food truck, they were fully supportive of it. And when we're retired or need blueberries, like Ryan said, they're always the first people to help out. So
my dad asks every night if I'm his retirement planned.
so come get some juice so that we can one day help our parents retire.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.